RGB mat.
You're gonna RGB mat?
I'm gonna RGB mat.
RGB. Now we can go to DreamHack.
Looking for a new PC or PC hardware? Then today's sponsor, Micro Center, is guaranteed to have what you need. Micro Center's huge selection of hardware and devices, along with their industry-leading prices, mean you get more for your money, while passionate, knowledgeable sales staff are available to assist you with your next build. With Build Your Own, Micro Center carries the latest in PC tech from all major brands. Not comfortable building it yourself? Then certified in-store technicians can build it for you in as little as the same day. To see all that Micro Center has to offer and to find the store closest to you, click the sponsor link in the description below.
All right, so we're heading to DreamHack 2020. It's first time it's come to the West Coast, and I'm saying that again without any of you guys bitching and whining about, oh, you was at LTX. It was not a DreamHack event. DreamHack's own website says, coming to the West Coast for the first time. Their own website says it. You can't argue with them. It's at Anaheim Convention Center. We've got everything loaded up, the Star Wars rig, the ship build that we did for Phil. We got monitors. We got deodorant, which is funny because DreamHack is like, please bring deodorant, which is important, trust me. If you've ever been to a LAN party, in our genre, trust me.
And not just like with your friends or anything, like, no.
And someone out there right now watching this stinks. I'm sorry, but it's true. Hack the dreams! Hack the dreams! Now look, I was pretty ignorant. I thought it was just a LAN party. No, BYOC is just a small portion, which stands for Bring Your Own Computer, by the way, if you weren't aware. It's just a small portion of the whole show. It's like a big PAX-esque thing. They have tournaments, they have cosplay, they have vendors, they have shows. They actually invited me to do some panels. I respectfully declined because I want, for my first DreamHack event, to experience the BYOC and not be like, I have to be here at this time and do this. And I didn't want to do any of that. So we're experiencing this 100% from the attendee perspective, so it should be fun. But there's like 1,000 seats or something like that for the BYOC, which is extremely small versus Sweden, which has like 5,000 seats. But this is gonna be the biggest LAN I've ever attended.
This is gonna be the first LAN, like public LAN, I guess, that I've ever attended.
I literally got on the freeway and it was all bing, get gas. Super nerds and super efficient in carrying our stuff. 2 monitors, 2 systems, a backpack. Yeah.
Sick. Too bad it's like 5 miles away. Hey look, Jay, look. Starbucks that way. Oh my god, is that like Paris Hilton?
That's what we look like.
Yeah, seriously. So we got our stuff.
I'm installing Edge, don't show anybody.
What? I thought you do computers, dude.
Okay, so obviously we're here at DreamHack now. We got our setups here. We're gonna be live streaming, Phil and I was like, oh, I didn't overclock this panel because it's overclockable to 165, and when I did, it set it to 1024 by 768. So
you overclock your nostalgia. Oh god, it's like more gross when you turn the monitor this way because then you have to look at yourself.
You wanna go get food?
Yeah, let's go get food. So, security just thought I was Jay's kid. Probably because of the height difference, look at that.
Yeah, maybe. You're my adopted kid from the Philippines?
Yeah. Yeah, you know those like, you have to like spend 5 cents like every month.
Oh, yeah. I walked outside and I forgot I had my glasses, so I was all like...
This sunglasses right there. 30 minutes later.
We got the most important thing you need at a LAN party, and that's food.
Ooh, it's all nice and...
And they're like moody gaming. Hi. I'm holding the camera, that's kind of weird. It's a little dark in here now, as you can see. So one of the things that they did here at DreamHack, I look stupid. One of the things they did... So the Ryan Reynolds movie, Fun Guy, the one where he's an NPC that goes rogue. Fun Guy? Free Guy. Or Free Guy. Oh, it's called Fun Guy. Fun Guy. All right, so we're kind of sort of set up. I know Phil's gonna be live streaming too, but by the time you guys see this, it will be over. So
to my like 6 followers.
If you were already following us on Twitter, then you would know that. But if you weren't, then you didn't see any of the shenanigans that are gonna be happening at DreamHack. That haven't happened yet, but have already happened by the time you guys have seen this. So by the end of this video, you'll see the shenanigans that have already happened, but I don't know what's gonna happen yet, because that hasn't happened yet. You follow that?
Also, we lost our voice because we were getting filmed for the movie. Oh, is that what you were explaining earlier?
Yeah, but this is a new take because... So the movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds is coming out this summer. The one where he basically plays an NPC in a game. Think Grand Theft Auto 5 is like the random NPC that walks around. That's kind of like his role, and then he sort of goes rogue. They filmed a few scenes for that movie here using the BYOC. All these fine folks, the 1,000 or so computers that are here. Yeah, huge LAN. that it's for some of the scenes regarding that movie. So that overhead cable right there, flying over us, if you guys can see it. There was actually a red camera mounted on that was going back and forth, and it literally flies right over top of our head. So you never know, we might end up in there.
And it's a scarily janky mount.
Yeah, and it makes a crazy sound as it goes.
There's my computer.
A shotgun did.
Shut up.
So yeah, anyway, it's been a long time since I've live streamed, which is funny. So I'm trying to get OBS all set up. I spent the first whole part of this day just eating food and setting up stream. Hey Hobbs, they got any more of those monsters?
Yeah, I can get you.
That would make you my best friend today.
Okay.
Hey, you're on your third caffeine?
I'm gonna have caffeine the whole weekend. Shut up, it's a LAN party. Yeah, oh god, I'm gonna die. Oh.
Why is it white? You should make it red. You should make it red. Hey Jake, you make it red. We're actually live streaming. Ah! He's coming.
No, I don't want to take it up the butt. No. Oh. Yeah! I can't remember how to. All right, so this is the end of day one of DreamHack. We didn't film a whole lot other than getting here and semi-setting up. We're live streaming right now, so if you guys are watching the live stream, then you'll see this whenever this goes up, whenever that is.
And that's the audience right there.
That's you. What Phil is saying is I already told him this. I sleepwalk and I sleep talk a lot. He's demonstrating apparently how I was sleeping last night. It's the next day. My back is killing me. The metal chairs, they're padded, but the problem is I can't adjust position. So we think we're gonna run back to the studio and pick up some chairs because that's the nice thing about having a big LAN like this local to us. I also need coffee. I'm also congested. He sounds like a misfiring engine with a tile blow-off valve.
So Subaru.
Yeah, pretty much.
How does this work? Is it working? It is working.
Clearly a lot more people here today. This is actually the Super Smash Brothers play tournament area over here. All the 1,000 PCs are on the other side. But right now we gotta go stuff our face after actually playing Portal 2 and working my brain a little bit. I'm tired.
Okay, he's getting it. Yeah. Ah! I feel like if portals were real, this is what you would do. You got your chicken pesto.
No, it's a salad sandwich.
Pesto chicken.
It's got salad on it.
Salad, pesto.
It's healthy. No, don't look at that. Okay, so I know it looks like it's not the next day because it looks like I haven't changed my clothes. I did, I promise. And I showered. He smells so bad. He smells terrible too. You guys have actually ever seen Hobbs on my channel? Have you been on my channel before? In some of the vlogs?
Probably on your PVX LAN one. So
Maybe.
Like years ago.
So this is Hobbs Latov. He's one of my moderators when we did Tech Talk. He was probably the most consistent moderator we had, if you want to know the truth. Like there were times he would text me, hey, I'm sorry, man, I'm caught up at work. I'm gonna be late modding. I'm really sorry. It's like, how dare you? Tell your boss you have real shit to do.
Yeah. Show up late for a free gig that I'm not getting paid for.
It wasn't free. You're getting paid right now with exposure.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just want to give a thanks to him because he's the one who got us in here because I was an idiot and totally forgot to buy tickets to this thing prior to it being the good stuff sold out. There were still regular BYOC seats, but we're not regular people, so.
No.
And by that I mean we're all big guys, so we need big seats and stuff.
Yeah, your pampered ass.
My pampered ass. Hey, I totally owned up to it. I said I don't like special treatment except for when I'm at shows.
Yeah.
Give me all the specials.
Yeah.
So we're still going to be doing like I said, it's the next day. We're still going to be taking a look at the NOC and the network setup of the network admins here. You guys may recognize Deus Qain. So he's one of the admins here for the network setup because I don't know if you guys know this, he is an infrastructure expert. So haven't seen him yet this morning. When we see him, we'll kind of get a walkthrough of what goes into having a 3 gigabit 1,000 seat BYOC or bring your own computer setup plus stage setup, because it's not just the computers that are sitting here in this section, which a lot of people are not here right now and have their systems on, but you can see right there. There's lots of people here, lots of computers. And imagine if the internet here was terrible. That would be bad, right? That would not be good for a LAN party. But there's also the stages, the main stages, when they're doing the pro gaming and the tournaments. There's the whole expo hall upstairs that has internet provided to the booths, and the main stage up there, and those are some of the stuff that's actually being esports televised and whatnot. So obviously, the integrity of the system there is very important. So I think that's going to be a fun portion of this video. If you guys are wondering why you haven't seen us like vlogging any of the gaming, that's because I live streamed for 7 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why you guys should pay attention to Twitter and stuff, because you would have known. And Phil is playing the most graphically intensive game I've ever seen. Circa 95.
I still don't understand how it's pulling 24% of a 2080 Super. It's like 320 by 200.
So regarding the Star Wars build, which is right there, obviously you guys can't really see it because of the way it's lit.
Oh my god!
It's lit right now.
My god!
Temperatures.
Got you like a bitch,
We did the.
bro. Sorry.
He's mimicking all the Fortnite players that are here this weekend, who are some of the loudest, most obnoxious people I've ever met. But anyway, the Star Wars build with the RTX Titan in there. Remember I said I wasn't sure how the cooling was going to be, but with the fan that we installed, that Noctua fan, and the upgraded fan on top, the max temperature I saw was 48 C in the most intensive game. And then average, it was sitting at like, what I showed you yesterday, Phil, it was like 38.
30, yeah,
when we turned off the computer that was on not all day, gaming nonstop, it was like 38 C under load. Anyway, we'll see you guys back with the network tour in a minute. Okay, so as I promised you guys, I'm back with Qain. You guys probably know who he is. Infrastructure expert extraordinaire. I'm gonna let him talk, because the second I came through the veil, if you will, yeah, there's a lot going on here.
So this is the core of our network here for the BYOC. Everything in the expo hall upstairs, our broadcasting areas, and even our free play bits over in the corner, which we'll go and check out in a minute. So this fancy cable bits here is the fiber optic lines that are running out to all the premium rows and the distribution switches that are out in the BYOC. We've also got a really awesome tactical fiber cable that runs over to the corner to the free play area, feeding 160 gig backbone between them and the core here. All of this comes together in a span of about 3, maybe 4 days. We start on Monday with trucks getting unloaded, stuff getting set up. We have a core set up that is up in the data center of the venue, and then we've got all this fiber. We ended up running, I want to say it was Wednesday, we ran all the fiber on Wednesday, just one day.
Do the switches travel in like that, or do they get assembled here?
Both, depends on which switch it is. So yeah, a lot of times they'll travel in these cases, and they're trucked across the country. They go from event to event.
How many meters of cable do you think are running for just this section, like the BYOC and the lower level?
Probably about 5 kilometers.
Yeah, and then for the whole event?
Add another 2 on top of that, so probably about 5 to 7, maybe 8,000 meters of cable that we have running, just for the fiber optic, not counting the Cat 5, Cat 6.
I was complaining that I had to run about, 10 meters at home?
So I'm going to introduce Will. This is our Defender Noel. He's the head of our network operations team here at DreamHack Anaheim. Yep. And I'm going to have him talk a little bit about our BYOC network setup.
What we have here is our BYOC setup. Every single row we have 2 switches to everybody, so no one is ever 25 feet away from a switch. That way you can bring a 25-foot cable, you can always plug in anywhere. All of the premium rows, which are in orange, we end up running a fiber to every one of those individually. All of our standard tables, we end up dropping a switch with a fiber run, and then we have Ethernet runs to every single one of those tables to each of the switches.
In terms of planning then, you guys request a blueprint from the venue, and then this is all planned when you know the BYOC, how many seats, the tables, then you go to work planning the switch layout.
Yeah, so the fun part about this is when I got the original plan, it changed 5 times from that before I actually got the original plan. So like before I got the finalized plan. The layout of this definitely changed 5 times. Our NOC, which is where we're standing right now, was originally
for Network Operations Center?
Network Operations Center.
Okay.
Yep. And we are essentially in charge of like all the network for upstairs, downstairs, all of it, not just the BYOC.
Has it gone smoothly, this event?
This event didn't go as smoothly as we would have liked it to. A lot of the issues we ran into were mainly attendees. We have, almost double what we're used to at this event, I would say.
Well, you said that there was a problem too with some people unplugging your actual...
So we have a lot of excited, I would say, attendees who decide they need to be in the last port of a switch. But the last port of the switch for our standard rows are the uplink. So they decide, I'm going to plug myself in here, but someone's there. They unplug it, plug themselves in, and then everybody freaks out because their games just dropped and everything died.
Is there truth to being last on a switch? Or first on a switch?
There is no truth.
No.
So the switches that we actually ended up going through with this event, so we ended up going with Juniper. Previous events we did Cisco's. Junipers, I believe there's like no throughput issue. Like each one has an ASIC for each port.
All of the Juniper switches that we have on the floor, everything from the stuff in the BYOC, even the stuff we have here in the core, they can do line speed to every single port at the same time. As we said, every single port's got an ASIC, which is the thing that controls all the bits and bytes being transmitted across the line. And the backplane is strong enough and capable enough that you can saturate every single port, which is really difficult to do when you think about having an uplink and communication between ports. You can saturate every single port, and that's about the time you're going to start seeing some kind of latency and delay. So it doesn't really matter where you are on the switch at all.
One of the funny things we found with the Junipers, actually, we were worried that the blinking, the three blinks every second, and we didn't know this, was like, hey, we thought something was wrong. There was a storm or something.
Yeah.
We ended up looking up and digging through documentation and found out this just means 3 blinks every second is gigabit uplink.
It's like an alarm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were concerned about too when we first came in. 2 is 100, and then 1 blink every second is 10 meg uplink.
So each one of these orange cables represents a table or something along BYOC,
Correct.
right?
So each one of these orange cables represents a switch on one of the standard tables. Wherever we drop a switch, we never need to worry about the orange cables to them. We just run that table directly to this switch.
Right. And then it's got dual fiber, a 10 gig to this switch. There's another really neat way that they're kind of getting around the whole, like, if you want to download something here, instead of suddenly everyone's downloading stuff, you guys have a really cool system set up for caching. So let's go ahead and kind of take a look at that.
From the BYOC core network infrastructure on that side, we have a 4-pair fiber optic connection, tactical fiber that comes up over the ceiling and down and drops into the front of our Arista switch here and giving us a 160 gig backbone between here and the BYOC core. From there, we have 160 gigs for QSFP Plus connections dropping into our caching system, which is running a heavily modified version of a Steam cache, LAN cache. It's got everything from Steam, we can do Epic Games, we can do Windows updates, Apple, PlayStation, Xbox. Escape from Tarkov was a game that it's got its own launcher, and we spent most of Friday morning tearing apart that. We basically tore apart what it was doing and Wiresharked the crap out of how it was connecting to the internet and what it was connecting to. And I built the ability to cache even that game. So that was, as of Friday morning, that was also able to be cached by our system. Thursday, when we were preloading our free play area, which is 160 machines that need to download about 500 gigs of games each, we pushed 53.9 gigasecond out of this cache for about an hour, and then it settled down to about 35 to 45 gigabit a second for the next 4 hours while we continued to load everything off of Steam. And this is kind of the heart of bandwidth conservation for the event. And it's less about how much bandwidth do you have in the event to use. It's more about how much do you have available for people to use. So if half of the BYOC wanted to download, say, a fun game like Fortnite, which has got some obnoxiously huge updates every time they get an update, instead of downloading all of that from the internet, we download it once here, and then we spread it out to, everybody can download it from the cache at relatively high speed. So all of Friday, we were pushing about 20 to 25 gigabit a second out of the cache while we were only downloading from the internet up to about 8 gig. So we have 3 gig connections to the internet in a failover load balance, and it's burstable up to 10 gig each. And we've been able to push that up to about 6. So they've been pretty consistent about giving us that 6 gigs download.
Okay, but here's the thing though. At the Anaheim Convention Center, obviously this is a huge venue and we're only using a portion of it for DreamHack. So, Qain, why don't you show them what it takes to get the internet down there?
So this is the DMARC that we are connected into from the ISP, from the facility in the building. We've got these 2 fiber links, which is our 10 gig fibers that have got what we call a 3 gig commit, which means that they are throttling us to 3 gigs with a burstable up to 10 gigs. So we can push it really hard for a few seconds and then it'll just settle back down to about 3 gigs. But that comes into, this is a Juniper MX204. We've got a pair of them and they're in a failover pair. So if one of them physically catches fire, the other one will continue operating, and it's a redundancy setup. These switches down here are EX4600s. There's a lot of 10 gig ports with a bunch of 40 gig uplinks out here. So we're communicating between our the outer router and the inner switch with multiple 40 gig connections. And then all of this is what's running to the expo hall out onto the floor where you've got things like Warcraft 3, you've got Halo, our main stage, all the big tournament areas, all of that is being fed from here because there's a lot of internet that has to go around. Everybody has to have connection into the network.
I was just laughing because you're like so nonchalantly grabbing the entire internet for the whole place.
This
2,000
is the
people.
power.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny part is these two up here are probably more important. These are the ones that actually connect us to the outside, where this is everything connecting all of the floor. Fiber optics is very fragile, so you don't want to be like too crazy with this. You don't want to step on it. You don't want to trip over it. You don't want to snag it. If you pull on it, don't run over it with a forklift. Don't snag it with a cart. Like, don't do that. These are the ones that run on a much more, this is called a tactical fiber cable. So it's got the fiber lines that we have. They're running inside this really awesome rubber sheathing. It's designed for a little more rugged use. This one you probably could run over with a forklift, but don't run over it with a forklift, especially not with the forks. It's bad. You make us all cry, and then we get angry. Do you ever know what happens with angry nerds? This is the connection. This runs from here through the infrastructure of the building and then down into the BYOC core, where it is then aggregated out for the entire BYOC and then connected over to the cache system. Because we recognize the value of the cache system for this event, we tied that cache system off the side like it is, but it is being fed into even these guys up here on the expo floor.
Okay, so Steam is obviously cache. What about, and you mentioned Epic, what about Origin, stuff like that?
So we've got Steam, Epic, Windows, Apple, PlayStation, Xbox. I guess Escape from Tarkov is on there. Origin is technically being cached, but not really. So the key to all of this is that in order for us to cache it, it has to be an HTTP unencrypted download. Origin decided that they were going to do HTTPS only. So we used to be able to cache it, and then one day it was just not capable of being cached. And now their client will ask you as the user, like, hey, do you want to download this over HTTP or HTTPS? And when you're in an event like this, you want to hit HTTP, because if you hit HTTPS, you won't cache it. You'll be going straight from the internet. And if everybody does that, we're all going to have a bad time. Steam rolled out an update to their client that it looks for landcache.steamcontent.com. And from that, if it resolves to a private IP address, it goes, oh, you're at a LAN party. Let's change how we behave. So it goes from 5 active connections to 30. It redirects all of its HTTP requests to that IP that it resolved to. Otherwise, it does HTTPS requests out to the cloud, to the rest of the regular CDNs. And it's not just us doing this. There's UK LANs, and there's an open source LAN, a bunch of other people, mostly in Europe and England specifically. England's got a really terrible infrastructure for their internet connections at their venues, and that's when I've been talking to all the guys who run these LAN parties. They end up with a pair of DSL connections that they're caching everything off of, and it's like, that's the only way they can have an event, because they're stuck with less than 20 megs of internet connectivity.
And on the flip side, I've been to events where I was naive and went, oh, they've got fast internet there, it's a LAN party, I'll just download my games there. Where the entire first day was burned up, downloading at terrible speeds because there was no cache or anything like that. So obviously that's pretty awesome, and I wasn't even expecting that. We downloaded a couple games on Steam that we were like, oh, we should play it while we're here, and it was just like, what the heck just happened?
We had a conversation with the upstairs in the expo hall. There was a Fortnite tournament, and they had a test client that they were utilizing for the tournament version of the game. The gentleman from Epic was like, yeah, this should start downloading, and they'll all start doing a peer-to-peer connection. And why is it's done already? That one's done too. Well, that one's done. That actually was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be.
So it was like a super virus for a game. Hey, Qain, I appreciate you showing us this, man. This is awesome. I haven't got to talk to you in a while, so it's kind of good to catch up with you and also see how much like everything you're doing has grown even in just the last few years.
Yeah.
So
and if you want one of these, we'll
I think it would be cool like if we came up with like a little baby version for what we do in the studio, because when we build new systems and we need to download like our suite of like 15 titles that we test,
Drivers,
even if we have it sitting on our server, we don't have a huge backbone or anything like this to try and feed it off from when we try and run it from the server, so that didn't work. So obviously you guys know what you're doing, so you can help us set up a small scale, rollout version of that.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna put all of the information for Qain's, it's NOCTECH, right?
NOCTECH is
NOCTECH.
the company that I'm now running is called NOCTECH.
But what I'm going to do is I'll put a link to like your socials and stuff down below. People can get a hold of you if they want to talk about anything. DreamHack clearly is a huge event. This is not as big as some of the other DreamHack events, but clearly this is a huge task, and you guys had to figure it out for this venue for the first time. So
This is the second time we've actually rolled out a LAN cache like this. The first one was the baby version of this. This is like version 4. We'll have a slightly improved version for Dallas, which is coming up in May, and then we're going to have another bigger, fancier oh my God, that's amazing version for Atlanta near the end of the year.
That's awesome. And also, if the audio kind of sucked, guys, we apologize. It is a loud venue. We are now in a server area.
It's the data center sound. It's all the white noise.
This is like, but this is a good sound to people who know what they're hearing. So anyway, that's gonna wrap up our DreamHack video. I definitely am gonna attend another DreamHack, and I couldn't not go to the one that's literally 45 minutes from my house and call myself a gaming enthusiast if I didn't come. So I'm kind of looking forward now to getting the traveling experience and checking out DreamHack in Sweden someday.
Absolutely, that's a fun event.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, check out the description below. We'll put the DreamHack information on the website, as well as NOCTECH and anything else we think is interesting. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.